Hi, my name is Dennis Siri. I am Executive Director and founder of the New York City Independent Film Festival, Independent in Spirit, International at Heart, and this is the New York City Independent Film Festival Meet the Filmmakers podcast. Join us while we meet this year's filmmakers. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hi, welcome to this episode of Meet the Filmmakers for the New York City Independent Film Festival. And we're here right now with Raza Rizvi for the film It Was Love to Me. Hi, Raz. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm Raza. I'm a recent graduate from the USC MFA program. I currently live in LA, but I'm about to move to New York in the fall. I like to wear lots of hats when I make films. I like writing, directing, and producing. I like producing other people's projects as well a lot. I like writing stuff that other people direct or directing stuff that other people write. And then I also work in the art department if I just need like money coming in, because obviously no one wants to pay anyone for directing or producing or writing. Um, and then yeah, I mean, I'm only 25, so just getting started, excited to jump into the industry. I want to be definitely on the more independent side of things, try to like carve my own lane if possible, and just be honest to who I am as a storyteller throughout my career.
All right. So, what made you want to be a filmmaker? What was that point? What was that decision? How did that decision come about?
Yeah, so I mean, my dad is a huge movie buff. He got that from his father as well, who's also a huge movie buff. Like they watch every single thing that comes out, every country, all types of movies all the time. So he got me into movies like very, very early. Like there was always be just a movie on TV back when there was cable and there was just stuff like running all the time. You didn't really have a choice on what you could watch. I would just like be sitting down. I was like 5, 6 years old watching like stuff I probably should not have been watching at that time, thinking it was very cool. Um, and then he started like seeing that I did have an interest in movies in general. So he started showing me like more specific stuff, going to video stores, um, getting specific types of movies that he thought I would like. And then I'm probably going to show how young I am here, but one of the movies that got me into movies was like Inception, and I was like 11 when that came out. And then that was like the coolest thing in the world that I thought at that time. And then my dad started showing these like crazy, like psychological thrillers, like David Fincher's like The Game, The 13th Floor, that type of stuff. And then it kind of opened up. I was like 11. This is when I was like 11, 12. Um,
Okay.
and then once I started getting a little bit, not even that much older, like I think I was like 12, 13. He started showing me Pulp Fiction, those types of movies. And then it just opened up a whole new world of possibilities on what was possible with film. And then it kind of just kept snowballing from there. I was interested in like the process. So I got into like reading the screenplays for the movies that I was watching. And I was lucky that, the internet was around. So I could just literally Google movie screenplay PDF. And then like you have thousands available. So I started writing my own silly stuff. Started making things on like, they got me a camcorder for my birthday one year. Just started making stuff, recording like family events, making stuff with my friends. And then I kept learning, kept watching stuff over the years. Obviously, my taste started changing as I got older and realizing the more like emotional impacts film could have. And then just the ability to like manipulate people's emotions and manipulate people's feeling of time, having them like almost like hostage, taken hostage in a way, like in your story, in your world, is something that's very appealing to me. And then on top of that, just all the different elements that go into making a film, I think is very unique because, when you have something like just music or novel writing, it's like just words or just music. But in film, you have words, you have music, you have images, you have dialogue. It's like basically every form of media possible all combined into like one thing. I think is very unique and definitely very challenging for sure.
I think you answered my next question was how long have you been doing this, and how many films? I'll still ask it. How long have you been doing this, and how many films have you done?
Yeah, so probably when I was like 12, 13 is when I started like writing little things and making little things with my friends. I don't know how many movies I've done because like a lot of them was just like 1 minute, 2 minute, just like stuff we would make on the weekend. And then I had like my projects, and I went to film for undergrad as well at Columbia College Chicago. So we had like film projects all the time. In terms of like stuff that I put out like fully into like the festival circuit, this is my third short film that's gone out. And then I had one feature that kind of got trapped in like the COVID like shutdown. So we had to like figure out a way to self-distribute that, but it didn't really go anywhere. That was like a little micro budget thing. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was just more of like a 10, 11 person, just like get together type fun little feature we made. But yeah, so basically three shorts and a feature is where I'm at right now in terms of directing.
Did you have support of your friends and family? Or were they
Yeah,
like, oh, go get a job as an accountant or engineering degree or something?
no, I'm definitely very lucky that my friends definitely supported me because I also found friends who were interested in video production, at least at that time. But I was very lucky with my family because both my parents are definitely artistically inclined. My father grew up in England as like a first generation, like Pakistani British um, immigrant. So he kind of had to do like the doctor engineer type path. He didn't really have a choice in what he could do, but then he was very committed when I was growing up that, you're lucky you have the opportunity to be able to do whatever, you want, whatever fulfills you in your life. And that happened to be film. So I've been very lucky to be supported financially and emotionally through like that journey.
Do you have a group of filmmakers around you that you like your tribe of filmmakers, your go-to people, the people that you, this is my tribe.
Yeah, definitely there is like a small, not even a handful, maybe like three. Like it is very, very small. One thing that's tough, I think, right now, especially in like the film school type environment, is it is like pretty toxic, and you don't necessarily get or feel that support that maybe existed before because of just how hyper competitive everybody is. Like it does feel almost like athletics right now. Like it feels like I need to be at the top. Like I'll bring you down in order for me to get back up to get my spot on the ladder. So I've definitely found like my people for sure, but I think film's also one of those things where people do come in and out project to project, depending on your needs, depending on their needs, where they're at. So it is pretty up in the air. Like I am open to working with a lot of people, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I have like a support system of filmmakers. But it is something that I definitely want to work on when I move out east, and hopefully the environment in New York and the tri-state area is a lot different than like industrial Hollywood, LA.
What made you decide to make this movie? It was love to make. What
Yeah,
was
so this was it's a very personal story. It is like a true thing that happened to me when I was in like early in high school. Um, and then kind of just reflecting back on that time on like who I am now and kind of like the things that happened when I was younger, more clarifying themselves into how they shaped me to who I am today, and just wanting to make like a piece about reflection and a piece about like the different ways love can manifest and the different ways that love can present itself. It doesn't always have to be like blossoming beautiful. Like there can be love in like the ugly, there can be love in things being left, open, things being unanswered. So just kind of making something about just the way that queer youths, especially within athletics, where there still is a pressure to present a very like masculine, a very like polished image, um, and kind of like the pressures that can put on you and how that can like change who you are and make you become like a person who isn't exactly who you want to be.
Mhm. Mhm. And now, what was the hardest part and the most fun part? Because quite often people, I was asking them as two separate questions, but everybody seems to kind of mingle those two together. So I asked
Yeah.
them, what was the hardest? What was the most fun part?
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part was honestly like getting the ability to actually make the project because you would think that like, oh, you went to USC film school, obviously you get your thesis film, which isn't the case. You have to apply to get a thesis film and then you get selected. So really, and there's 15 spots every semester. So really like less than half of the people who like go to USC film school actually get out of there with a thesis film. So going through that whole process of actually applying, getting selected, um, was honestly probably the most challenging part, because once you get in, then you do have the school institutional resources at your disposal to work with, which is really nice. So that kind of leads to like the fun part, which was actually putting everything together and seeing, the first day when the monitor's up after like the months, the weeks of preparation, the thoughts, thinking about everything, imagining it being perfect in your mind, and then actually seeing it on the monitor for the first time. Where this was, I think, the first experience I had where basically like I would say like I got like 80% of like what was in my head, which was very cool because usually that's not the case. But it was just fun having all those conversations with the production designer, with the cinematographer, doing the runs to the prop store, um, all of that stuff. Just like I just really love the process. I always have fun in the process of pre-production and choosing all the little elements that go into a film, and that's something that will always be like, very very fun to me. I really love the process.
Cool. That's great. All right. In the indie world, you said about making a living. Now, in the indie world, you can make a living, but you're not going to become rich. Maybe someday you'll make a big time movie, but you won't become rich in the indie world. What would you define as success? In the indie world, what does success look like to you?
I would say it's making something that you feel is honest to you as a person, as a storyteller. I think the indie world, if you play it the right way, you do have kind of the luxury to have creative control, which I think is very important. Um, I think just the way that I would define success is at the end of the day, you make something that feels that you didn't have to compromise on, and that you felt that really came from within your heart, and you didn't have to like sell yourself. Might be a bit extreme, but you didn't have to necessarily change who you are as a person or as a storyteller in order to get something done. Everything comes 100% from your intention, and from your authenticity.
So suppose somebody comes along and says, Uncle Raza, I'm going to become an indie filmmaker just like you. What would you say? What would be your spiel to them?
I would definitely say make sure that you have some sort of financial support system around you, whether that's family or just another job or just something, um, so that way you can actually, focus on making something that is perhaps different, that doesn't necessarily fit in. It really does come down to money at the end of the day, but I would always say make a story that's true to you. Um, Present images that are true to you. Don't compromise against your will. Um, that's really what it comes down to for me.
Okay. I mean, that's the last of my questions. Now I usually just say, any comments, anything you want to say?
I'm just really, I love indie festivals. I love smaller festivals. I love seeing stuff that is different, that does have unique voices, unique stories that might not necessarily fit into like the really nicely manicured um, programs of like some of the, international, national, whatever festivals that are out there. So I think I'm just really excited to be part of this festival and just present something to everybody.
We're excited to have you. It will be shown June 8th at 11 a.m., which is Saturday morning. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you at the festival.